Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 14th day of January, folks. We've got the wild card weekend behind us. Mike Vrabel's now the Patriots head coach. Mike McCarthy is out with Dallas. He's talking to the Bears and more. And it seems like we may have a star in Jayden Daniels. How big a star is he going to be? And Mike Tomlin, looks like no sign of him leaving yet. Another failed effort there in the playoffs. That's 6 straight. So let's take our first only break. I'll be back here momentarily. We'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
All righty, then I'm back here live. I guess we'll start with last night's game, Minnesota, LA Rams. I tell you what, Sean McVay, very good job. Very good job. Resting his starters, getting everybody intact. You know, I really like what the Rams are doing. I like the model, the business model that they're in right now. It always works when you hit on the draft picks. But Jared Verse, guys like him, rookie defensive edge rusher there, pretty much that entire defense is all drafted. I mean, that whole and it's all coming together too. I mean, you got to credit Les Snead for that. But that's basically their model. Their money's been put into, obviously, Matt Stafford and, of course, Cooper Kupp, which I think they'll probably move off of in another year or so. And everything else is pretty much draft picks because of the dead money they've had from their last Super Bowl run. They got the big win last night. I tell you what, it was just a good idea, resting your starters. You could tell they are revitalized. They're going to be tough against Philadelphia come this weekend. On the flip side, you know, Kevin O'Connell, is it just Kevin O'Connell that is his magic with quarterbacks, depending on the level of talent? Does it just wear off and it strikes midnight for the quarterbacks? So you start to really think, you know, I mean, Sam Darnold, I can't explain that. Minnesota has a lot of holes, or the Rams, as good as they are, athletic as they are up front, holes on the back end of their defense. They desperately need help at the cornerback position, the secondary. A fast-paced track like that with Justin Jefferson, obviously Addison, a fair offensive line. It looked like he stepped into a lot of those throws. His speed, Darnold's speed, has just not been up to par here. I can understand the Denver or the Detroit flaws that he had. I just do not understand this against the Rams here. I mean, Rams are beatable on the back end. They've shown to be beatable. One of the worst secondaries in the league. Now, it always helps when you got a good pass rush, but still. So here's a write-up. Just 2 weeks ago, this site I follow, NFL Rookie Watch, and they cover the draft and what's not. And, of course, they cover the incoming rookies and the players and just kind of news and rumors from scouts. Listen to this. This was 2 weeks ago. I read this on this program. This was before those two playoff-like games where Sam Darnold is just looking like the guy that Minnesota picked up off the street. Okay, J.J. McCarthy, their starter, who's hurt now. It's got this meniscus. It's supposed to get a fully recover. He's going to be okay. This was 2 weeks ago. This rookie watch site says would be ranked the number one quarterback in this upcoming 2025 draft over Schroeder, Sanders, and Cam Ward. I'm not sure if I buy that. McCarthy is reportedly a potential trade target this offseason, pending on the Vikings' playoff performance, with teams such as the Browns, Giants, and the Raiders are all reportedly having significant interest in McCarthy. Trade of McCarthy would require top 10, if not top 5 pick if the Vikings ever considered it. Today, same site on Sam Darnold. J.J. McCarthy is reportedly off the table. Now the Vikings front office from any potential trade talks. Many scouts reportedly believe Sam Darnold's gifted back the quarterback job to McCarthy with his performance over the last 2 games. The Browns, Raiders, Jets, Giants were all reportedly prepared to propose a mega package in an attempt to lure McCarthy out of Minnesota. Some NFL scouts reportedly believe McCarthy still has a bright future of any of the rookies in the 2024 class. It seems as if the Vikings are locked in on their quarterback of the future after the playoff performance. Hey, this is a bottom line league. You just got to put up and shut up, or you got to win or go home. You compare what Sam Darnold did last night to what we saw out of rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels on Sunday night. Jayden Daniels on Sunday looks like a 5-year veteran. Looks like a guy that's been in the league since 2018. And Sam Darnold looks like it's his first rodeo. Well, technically it is, but he's been in the league a while. He should have played better. He's hanging on to the ball too long. I think he was rushing it, overthinking it. Sometimes you got to check that rock down, live to fight another day. I don't know why these quarterbacks don't do that. You know, I know he's a big guy. Darnold used to play linebacker in high school, loves the contact, ran at USC, ran at the Jets, we all know, ran everywhere he's been bounced off to. He just has a slow reaction time to dropping the ball off. I don't know why they don't watch Tom Brady and Drew Brees tape from back in the day, or even a Peyton Manning. Sometimes the best move is just simply dropping the football off in the flat and living to fight another down here. Carlos, yeah, I noticed you didn't text me last night. Carlos has amnesia. Carlos is always busy when the teams I pick are winning. But he's always watching the game, and he's fluid when the teams he picked that I didn't pick are winning. I see you. But yeah, he's playing nervous. Going back to Sam Darnold, I tease. He's played nervous in the Detroit game. He's played nervous in this game. These are 2 playoff-like games. And just like I read just a few minutes ago, Darnold, you got J.J. McCarthy on a rookie contract. By the way, this is probably why this came out. That defense played well. If you listen to him at the beginning of the program, Carlos, Jared Verse, the business model for that defense is all draft picks. I love Witherspoon, love Jared Verse. A lot of guys nobody's never heard of. Now, Verse, I know, played at Florida State, but got to give hats off to Les Snead, at how he's handled this situation. I love what they're doing and love their business model. This is from Oddshark, a site also I'll follow on the X app, talking about potentially paying Sam Darnold $40+ million a year. This is what Oddshark put out about the highest paid quarterbacks and how they've, air quote, fared in the playoffs. Dak Prescott, $60 million contract, missed the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence, who is on the hot seat of being a starting quarterback in this league, $55 million, missed the playoffs. Joe Burrow, my guy, got a crappy GM, got a crappy owner, mainly a crappy owner. $55 million, though. Yeah, Jamar Chase had a banner year, triple crown, yards, receptions, touchdowns for a receiver. They're at home watching the playoffs. $55 million, missed the playoffs. Jordan Love, $55 million, lost in the first round. Tua Tagovailoa, $53.1, missed the playoffs. That's why they're hesitant to play $40+ million. I'm talking about Minnesota now to Sam Darnold. So now you're saying, okay, do you let Sam Darnold walk at this point? I don't know. You got to review the tape. That's a tough decision, but you are like I said, I just get a sense that Kevin O'Connell gets everything he does out of these quarterbacks. And he's had Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold, 2 cast-offs from other teams that he has coached up. Remember the Josh Dobbs game? Remember the Josh Dobbs coming to Kevin O'Connell in the middle of the season because they had a flood of injuries last year and they actually beat a Falcons team, bringing this guy in on 3 days practice. 3 days practice there for Josh Dobbs. And then the O'Connell magic wears off. You know, he just puts these schemes together. Then the talent of the player has to live up to. And then you're just kind of resting on the talent of the player. The league gets some film on them, and things start to fall apart. If it's just a mediocre to bad player, that's what happens. So I'm thinking maybe management, maybe O'Connell himself saying, okay, the magic worked most of the season with Sam Darnold. Now I don't know. Now that the stakes have been higher, now I don't know if we don't want to pay him a big dose of money. They still have holes in their defensive personnel, even though Flores did the best possible job he can do coaching that defense per se. And then Carlos says he's cooked if he has O'Connell to depend on. Well, the guy's going to get job opportunities, I think. But this discussion is out. This discussion is out. They still may keep Darnold. I don't know. It could lower his price. Could you get Darnold for a Baker Mayfield, a lower end type of contract? I just read those huge numbers from players who did not make the playoffs here. Do you offer this guy $35 million? That even goes back to the question of this 49er team and Brock Purdy. Do you offer him $35 to $40 million versus $60 million that he wants up in San Francisco? He's not even getting the big money, and they're already having to restructure contracts and let players go. They're falling off physically as we speak. That's why they're not in the playoffs. Of course, I said they wouldn't go to the Super Bowl, and I said they wouldn't win that division either. And both have been true. The Rams have won that division. So, like my man from Oddshark says, why pay these quarterbacks this is exorbitant amount of money? It just takes one business model, one quarterback to buy in and get them at a better price here. You know, get them at a better price, something that helps this team win. Because if you're not absolutely sharp as a tack in your draft, it's just not going to work. Yes, it's worked for Kansas City. So far, it's worked for Buffalo, but they haven't won a Super Bowl yet. And so far, it's worked for Baltimore, and they haven't won a Super Bowl yet. So it's very tough, but they are in the playoffs. Those teams are projected to play well. We saw what the Rams have done. You know, I think they have the best model. That's the model to go after is if you're going to pay the quarterback, you're going to have to get a defense just all on rookie contracts, and you're going to have to obviously hit on those picks. So it is what it is. But we shall see, Awuku Saki. Okay, this is the game I wanted to talk about. Best game of the weekend, Washington, Tampa. Yeah, Washington caught a break on the fumble handoff exchange, which will probably haunt Baker Mayfield all off season, but it did. In exchange in the fourth quarter, I personally, on that particular play, we're talking 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It's 4th and 2. Julian Edelman, who played with the Patriots, he said this talking about Detroit last year, not this year, last year when they blew that game to Dallas. He says, we just don't have many plays for a 4th and 2, 4th and 5 on the goal line. It's probably best if it's not game on the line situation to go ahead and kick the field goal in that particular situation. So Dan Quinn decided to go ahead and go for it. They missed it. And if it wasn't for a fumble snap exchange with that 4-point lead, Tampa potentially wins this game here, getting a first down or two and making or even punting back, making Washington drive the length of the field. Now we know what happened, but I'm saying if that happens, then we're questioning Dan Quinn's judgment. You know, if it wasn't for a break like that. That being said, one of the only few quarterbacks in the history of the game to win a road game as a rookie in rarefied company there in Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is a fourth quarter playing type of quarterback, but you got guys like Joe Flacco. I want to say Ben Roethlisberger. Might not have been Roethlisberger. Let me double check here. Something came up on my screen about Clemson has hired timeout. Okay. Here we go. Let me look at this. You got Mark Sanchez. You've got Joe Flacco. I think that Mark Sanchez is not even in the league with this guy. But those are guys who won road games as rookie. He's in rarefied company here. Russell Wilson. Only 4 rookie quarterbacks have ever won a playoff game on the road in NFL history. Joe Flacco, Mark Sanchez, Russell Wilson. Flacco went on to win the Super Bowl at a later time, and so did Russell Wilson. Of course, Mark Sanchez. That's why I do not think that they should get who was it? What's that guy's name? Wade Phillips? Not Wade Phillips. What's his name? They shouldn't bring that coach back that used to coach them. You know, God, I can't think of his name now because I just don't care. I mean, he's a good coordinator. His dad was a good coordinator. What's that guy's name there? Carlos. God, he's on TV every day. His dad, Rex Ryan. Yeah, I would not bring Rex Ryan back. Rex Ryan runs quarterbacks, you know. Sanchez started off well, and he just went down under Rex Ryan. Same thing happened with Tyrod Taylor when he went to Buffalo. So I don't know, Jets, hopefully do not bring back Rex Ryan. But Jayden Daniels, listen, folks, Jayden Daniels gets better in the fourth quarter. I just mentioned Sam Darnold here, okay? Jayden Daniels, this is fourth quarter. This is unbelievable stuff here. This is Eli Manning Super Bowl level after he'd been into the league a few years type of numbers. 72% completion percentage in the fourth quarter this year for Jayden Daniels. 1,143 yards, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Most by a rookie, 12 touchdowns in NFL history. If he stays healthy, he could be a Super Bowl winning type of. If it's me right now, if I'm in the management for the Commanders, I'm putting my money into Jayden Daniels to see if he can join that club of quarterbacks who've made the Super Bowl. Some have won it in their second year. Can you believe that? In their second year, yeah, the Eagles have a better roster. But right now, would you take Jayden Daniels at what, 24, 25 over a 32, 33-year-old Dak Prescott at $60 million? He's better than Dak right now. I think in a year or two, he can potentially be better than Jalen Hurts. Now, they don't have the roster yet of a Philadelphia. I get that. But this guy is just cool under fire, ice water in his veins. And what I like the most about him, yes, he runs. I wish he wouldn't run as much as he did this year. I know he had some rib injuries. He did play through that injury, actually threw a game-winning touchdown against the Bears earlier this year in a Hail Mary. But other than that, he is bullet accurate. Read a stat. He's already been surpassed Robert Griffin's rookie year. I mean, he's the best quarterback since Mark Ripken. I mean, I can ask Mike Richmond his opinion, but this is the first time they've won 11 games in a regular season or more since 1991, and that was a Mike Ripken team that they won the Super Bowl. That's how special this season is. Listen to minority owner Magic Johnson on this team. He got caught in the somebody caught up with him in the locker room here after the game. Listen.
They didn't worry about what all the analysts said, all the people said, and the right quarterback. Enough said right there. And then this man right here, Terry, what a year. I'm so proud of you. Terry. Oh no! That's what we talked about. That's what we talked about. Your leadership, man. Your leadership. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Job's not done.
Oh yeah, keep
Job's
it
not
up.
done. It's been fun. I appreciate you.
Go ahead.
We're talking about.
And enjoy.
For sure. Yes, sir.
Again, that's what it's about.
Big personality, Magic Johnson, minority owner there of the Washington Commanders. You could tell he's a basketball player, right, Carlos? This dude stands out. Magic stands out over. He stands out over everybody. You could tell. And to me, he still looks the same as he did 30 years ago, 1991, maybe a little heavier. Got that winning personality. You could just feel that vibrance, that winning persona. Remember, this team beat a good Eagles team earlier this year. They pushed the Ravens to the brink. They beat Tampa on the road. Good Tampa team. Tampa should have won that game. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, but did it. Now they're going up to Detroit. I like Detroit, but Detroit can't go in there overconfident, making a bunch of mistakes, because this guy's playing on house money, and he's playing with a flood of confidence here. That'll be a great high-scoring game coming up on Saturday night. I can't wait for it. But yeah, it's good stuff coming up there out of Washington. Now you simply just have to play, go out, pump up your defense, maybe get a number 2 receiver. I wouldn't go too much. I wouldn't put too much money into the receiver because you don't want guys hollering about who's getting the ball, who's not getting the ball. McLaurin's a true number 1, always has been a true number 1. Don't want too many diva-like receivers on the team. Lauren, pretty humble guy there. Other words, you don't want to mess up this camp. Do you want to add maybe another tight end or somebody? Yeah, sure. Somebody to complement an agent Zach Ertz, no problem. They traded a receiver to Philadelphia and did not miss a beat. So looking forward to seeing them. How big is this? How big is this? And hey, listen, Tampa's front seven's very good. They got guys hurt during the game. They have a good front seven. It was just a game where it's between that Cliff Kingsbury offense. It's the confidence of Jack. And, somebody else showed there was another video going viral on the internet that showed Daniel's reaction when they end up hitting the game-winning field goal for Washington. He had a Jay Wright type of feel. He was like, yep, okay. No. Other words, he's put in so much work. I've had Kevin Carroll on the program. He said he read something where this guy gets in at 4 o'clock in the morning, does all his drills, gets all his workout in practically before anybody else gets there. Other words, he's done the work. He expects to win. Like Detroit now, they expect to win come Sunday. Philadelphia expects to win. Although, I don't know if you're that complacent where you're reading books on the sideline. That what happened in the Philadelphia game. AJ Brown reading a book on the sideline. I'm not going to pound Green Bay too much for this loss here to consider they lost 2 receivers in the game. They already had Christian Watson now in the game. I know that Jordan Love, I want to say he was dealing with a groin injury, but Philadelphia, very lethargic. Matt Hasselbeck saying basically that first game back as a long layoff and concussion protocol. You're in a little bit of a fog. You can see that. I kind of had a sense that may be the case because he hadn't played in 3 or 4 weeks, Jalen Hurts. We'll see. Other words, if they play like this Sunday against the Rams, they will lose. I don't think they will. But you got guys reading the books on the sideline. It tells you how bored they are up there. A.J. Brown is. Of course, Nick Sirianni defending. If they lose this game Sunday, which they could, like I said, if they play the way they did against Green Bay, I think they will lose this game, But, Carlos says Washington finished the game and Rams need to forget the line. Yeah, now Rams did play Monday night. It's going to be somewhat of a short week for the Rams. Their defense is playing the best it has all year. They're the healthiest they've been all year. Tyler Higbee got hurt in that game. He was spitting up blood on the sideline, and now they're saying that he might play on Sunday. So we'll see how that thing plays out. If for whatever reason that the Eagles going back to them, if they lose this game, there's a possibility Sirianni could get fired. That's the problem. If you're a head coach and you've got the kind of talent that that the Eagles have, a lot of talent, high expectations, high expectations. Just focusing on stopping the run, Barkley getting 60 yards. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's going to be interesting to say the least. All right. I feel like I'm going to run out of time. There's so much to cover tonight, folks. Appreciate your input there tonight, Carlos. Appreciate you. Okay, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I did pick Carlos, had this game right. I picked the big upset. It was 9.5, 10-point spread. We've been hearing all week about leading up to this game. Mike Tomlin, 0-5 in the playoffs. Look how good the Ravens are. This is stuff I'm saying, too. Ravens playing best football of the year. Thought the Ravens would play well after their bye week. But that being said, no Zay Flowers there for the Ravens. George Pickens back for Pittsburgh. T.J. Watt, Cameron Hayward, who was that? Queen back there at linebacker. Micah Fitzpatrick. That's a lot of high-dollar guys right there for the Pittsburgh defense. And they gave up Saturday night, 299 yards. I had to look that up. 299 yards. I picked up a guy in Uber last night because I've had to work Monday last night because we got snowed in. I had to make up part of that money that getting snowed in on Friday. See, and this guy's from Pittsburgh. He said, "Listen, man, we're fed up with Tomlin. 299 total rushing yards given up. What was it? 180 something. 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry." He says, "Listen, we spend the most money in the NFL on the defense." I said, "Yeah, that's true. I just read that myself." He said, "How come we're like top 5, top 10? I said, "That's right. If you spend the most money on defense, you got to be number one. You got to have a better run defense than your arch rival, which is the Baltimore Ravens. And you do not have the number one defense. And it's the run. They have the best run defense in the league. They've got one of the better overall defenses in the league the past 6 games. They've tightened up a lot of their defense. But I figured that, Tomlin would have them ready. They matched up well in the past, and they simply did not look like they were engaged in that game at all. It felt like it was over early, and even Kirk Herbstreit mentioned it with Al Michaels on the Amazon thing. Listen up.
They ain't worry about.
No.
A game like this, a chess match, it's a cliche. But if this is a chess match, 2 grandmasters.
If I were a Steelers fan, the thing that would concern me just watching this first half, you're in the postseason. You're getting dominated. I don't see any fight. I don't see any pushback. It's one thing to lose XOs against a really talented offense, but where the hell is the fight? This is the Pittsburgh.
Yes. Apologize about the low sound there. Got that off of TikTok here. Hopefully it won't get banned. Somebody in America will buy it. But where's the fight there? Where's the pushback from the Steelers? And you're looking all night for it. At one time, I think it was like 21-7 or something like that, 14-0. There was no fight. There was no fight for the Steelers. And, as I mentioned before, 18 years Mike Tomlin has completed there at Pittsburgh. So according to Ralph Williams, what he's saying, what he's hearing from Roundabout Way, Tomlin signed that 3-year extension. He's going to do the 20. He's going to be done. So you've only got 2 more years of this, of Mike Tomlin. So now they've got 6 straight playoff losses. Like Belichick, like Pete Carroll, even Andy Reid, folks, last couple of years in Philadelphia. Both parties simply need a change. You've got Belichick now, and in the college game, Andy Reid successful in Kansas City, and Pete Carroll's interviewing with jobs everywhere, including the Raiders job. But you just get a sense that things have went stale under him. And it may just be good for both parties. Andy Reid totally energized when he went to Kansas City. Even before Holmes, when he had Alex Smith there. Belichick in college. And again, Pete Carroll. Bill Walton, 10 years, man. He's almost doubled that in 20 years. Bill Cowher, Colin Cowher is talking about they've tried to rebuild their offensive line for 5 years. They're better now, but they don't have explosive push on their offensive line. The Steelers. They don't have a consistent push like they did during the Bill Cowher days, during the Jerome Bettis days, where they could just push it. They lack attention to detail. They lack the physicality on a consistent week in and a week out basis. And, people talk about maybe trading coaches, maybe getting him with the Cowboys or something. But I just think that the time has come now. This is a very stubborn ownership. They take pride in that. And for the most part, I like the Rooneys. I like their approach here. Let things develop. Give people plenty of time. Now it's got to the point where, is that the standard? Like this guy I picked up an Uber yesterday. Is the standard just getting to the play? You're the Pittsburgh Steelers. You've got 6 championships. You're tied with Dallas. You're tied with New England for the most in the history of the NFL. Do you want to just lower the bar there to just a team just happy enough to get to the playoffs? No, of course not. As I've said before, just like the movie Office Space, the 1999 classic there, he's just good enough not to get fired. But now you're starting to get national personalities, not just Kirk Herbstreit. You're getting guys off NFL Network now saying that Tomlin, that's just not the standard. I want to say it was Teddy Bruschi said something about it. NFL Network guys, Kyle Brandt, I want to say, said something about it. Yet at some point, you got to win, just not get to the playoffs. That's not the standard there. So we'll see how that thing plays out. But that's kind of the Pittsburgh team I saw coming into the season. As far as Baltimore is concerned, that's what they need to do come next week. Biggest game of the possible year, maybe the best game, is that Baltimore Buffalo game Sunday afternoon in the early evening. Really looking forward to that thing. Really looking forward to that. But that read option there is almost impossible to stop. That's the level they're playing on. The defensive side really clicking on all 8. Marlon Humphrey got a little banged up in that game. Going to have to go back and check on that and see. He did finish the game, their star cornerback. But other than that, they're going to be a tough out. I don't know how they're going to play against Buffalo. I knew, though, Buffalo's got some starters back that wasn't playing in that early game where they humiliated Buffalo. This game will be played in Buffalo. They've got 3 defensive starters back, including Matt Milano. I don't know if that's enough to beat this team the way they're playing right now as far as that Baltimore Ravens team is concerned. And the better they play, the more it ticks off Ravens or Steelers fans, because they always think they're the better team. And traditionally they have. I mean, the Ravens only have 2 Super Bowls. Now, of course, they've only been the Ravens since, 96 or whatever. I think they stole the Browns, and then the Browns had to start another team. One of their first key players was Ray Lewis in the draft. So we'll see how that plays out. Steelers need to make a change, be best for both parties. Ravens keep on keeping on as the story continues. Carlos says had several injuries on defense, but all those guys came back and played. If you're talking about the Steelers, because I wouldn't see any injuries. Hayward's there, Watt's there, Queen's there. Maybe their cornerbacks aren't really household name guys, but there's a Pro Bowl level Fitzpatrick's there. They're just not really up to par. Okay. Who could it be now? Dun, 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 dun. Chargers Third straight road game for LA. I should have caught this, and I would have took Houston. As I said earlier in the program, Sean McVay did the right thing in Week 18, and I love Jim Harbaugh. But he made a mistake, folks. Jim Harbaugh made a mistake. Meaningless game. Could not move anywhere. Already in the playoffs against the Raiders. You already had a banged up J.K. Dobbins, banged up Gus Edwards. He should have rested his starters in Week 18. That's a team that leaned heavily on the running game. Their best option at skill possession is a second-round pick that's a rookie, Ladd McConkey. How much stock, and he had a good game, right? How much can you put on a rookie in his first year like that? On a rookie second-round pick, they put too much into it. Of course, a lot of that was from the former general manager signing Mike Williams, that giant contract, signing Derwin James to that giant contract, overextending himself, and they had cap issues, of course, But third straight road game, did not rest those starters, up 6-0 early. Everything looked good, but I thought maybe this will probably come back and bite them, not scoring touchdowns instead of scoring touchdowns instead of just actually putting field goals in there. They should have scored the touchdowns, obviously. And you look at that, and I think to myself, man, they still had opportunities, turnovers, could not capitalize on them by the LA Charger defense. There was a pivotal point in that game. I want to say it's midway through the second quarter where it looked like that there was going to be a potential safety there on C.J. Stroud. He drops the ball, picks the ball up, throws the ball downfield, and at that point was a big turnaround in the game. They went up, long story short, 13-6, didn't look back, and as the second half came along, the wheels totally fell off for the LA Chargers, and I just think that they were exhausted team, a limited team. After the game, Khalil Mack's talking about retirement and all that. Now, that being said, Justin Herbert's got to step his game up. He did not live up to par his last two playoff games. I think he kind of got a little Sam Darnold in him, pressing a little too hard, wanting to stay in the pocket. He's going to have to run more and make more plays out of the pocket in big, crucial games like playoff atmospheres. They will get it fixed. They still have some roster issues they've got to take care of. Got to get younger in some spots. Look across town to the Rams. Go with that model. I'd probably move off Bosa. And there's your pass rush right there. So that means you'll have to go pass rush you'll have to go pass rush. You need the opposite receiver there in the draft and free agency. Try to squeeze that in, something like that of that nature. Maybe go early. They need a number 2 receiver, but definitely got to get a pass rush there, and maybe get a younger running back as well, because they're scrapping this team together, and get some of those big salaries off your books. Build up that way. I think they're going to be fine. That particular game, they should have won that game, but that's on Harbaugh. That's all. And he said I made some mistakes. He didn't come out and say I should have rested these players on week 8 in that meaningless game against the Raiders. He didn't say that, but he insinuated it. 3 straight road games, plus them coming from West Coast. I should have caught on to that. I just look how bad that Houston been playing leading up to that. I thought Houston would fold, and instead it was them. And Carlos made sure and sent me 200 text messages to make sure I did get that. So anyways, that's all right. I ain't mad at you, man. I ain't mad at you. Okay. Coaching news. Mike Vrabel. By the way, Keith Engel will be on the program tomorrow. Keith Engel will be on the program tomorrow. TGI Sports here. Keith's big Patriot fan. Going to talk about Mike Vrabel, former Titans coach, former Patriot player, won a couple Super Bowls there. He got a great resume with the Patriots as a player as well. Listen, I don't see how Vrabel could have turned this job down. My only reservations about Vrabel is, and he seemed to address that issue. I didn't hear enough from it, but he said something in regards to picking the players and all that with the local reporter there. He said, listen, I know that I don't have access to see everybody we're bringing in, but, I think he was getting at he would like to have some kind of say on the players that they bring in as far as free agency and whatnot. That's fine. Those are players already in the league, but college players, a lot of college players don't have enough tape on them for him to be watching. I think that's because he's going to work with this guy, Wolf, as grandson of Ron Wolf, great legendary general manager at Green Bay. They've got Drake May there at quarterback. So, and listen, the 4th pick overall and $132 million in cap space, that's the best job out there. Robert Kraft seems like a good guy to work for, everything I see and hear from him. I think that personally, I think Robert Kraft wanted to hire Vrabel last year when he was available. But between that and this already promise he made to Jared Mayo, plus that awful press conference Mayo had where he wanted to call the league racist, I think he knew right then and there, between the fact he couldn't get Vrabel last year and the fact that Mayo said what he said, says this guy should be above saying stuff like he said like that. He's probably just a position coach. I don't even know if Mayo's really a good coordinator material. That being said, I think he wanted to bring Vrabel in from the get-go, didn't want to back up on us. So, you know what? Gave Mayo a shot, see how it's going to play out. I think the last straw, though, if he was even thinking about keeping Mayo, because they did beat the Bears, pretty good Bear team earlier this year, seeing how they play after the bye. Good, well-coached teams look good after bye weeks. Mayo's team did not look good after a late bye playing against a pretty average Arizona team. And I think he said, that's a decision. Let's say between all other crap, I'm going to let Mayo go, buy that contract out, see if we can get a Mike Vrabel in here. And, of course, they did. Now, they're rumored early on this week, or last week, that maybe pairing him with Josh McDaniels, former offensive coordinator, bringing him back. That was rumored. Now, I've read that they've requested to speak with Minnesota's Josh McCown for the offensive coordinator. So I guess McCown's either OC or probably a quarterback coach there. Used to be a backup quarterback, Josh McCown. So sounds pretty good. All that money, probably want to get maybe T. Higgins would look really good in a New England Patriot uniform. Go ahead and surround May as much as you can get around him, and use that 4th pick, maybe get you a defensive tackle or beef up that offensive line. That's something I'll probably ask Keith, who would he rather see them get at that 4th pick. It's a great hire. Long as Vrabel stays Coach Vrabel, puts a little input on free agents and players to keep, I'm cool with that. Just don't be drafting players. That's why they got rid of the guy before the last guy. That's why they got rid of Bill Belichick. He's going to make that division a lot more interesting, even though you're going against and Josh Allen every twice a year. You know, Miami seems to be falling apart. The Jets are always the Jets, but we'll see. I think it's going to be a home run hit. You just hope that they put the emphasis on the offense and Vrabel gets as creative as he can. Kind of fell off the offense here in Nashville at the end. Did not put enough into the offensive line that they should have. Hopefully he's learned from that, Mike Vrabel. That would be my only concern. these defensive-minded head coaches got some pull, and they want to go cheat, go draft on the offensive line, and and that's just what's wrong with Mike Tomlin. That's what's wrong with Pete Carroll. You got to emphasize quarterback play, scheme for quarterback protection. Quarterback coach, coaching for the quarterback, scheme, protection for the quarterback. Get to the other quarterback. Put your money, put your resources, getting that protection for the quarterback, getting that quarterback. Go to your draft for defensive players. Go to your draft. And the opposite is what Pittsburgh does. They go to their draft for the offensive line. They go to the end of the shed for. They go dumpster diving for quarterbacks. Justin Fields, Carlos mentioned maybe send Justin Fields to Minnesota. Fields is just not a starting quarterback in the NFL right now. I just don't see it. He makes the same mistakes he did his rookie year. Maybe he grows into it. But Vrabel, the Patriots could be in a Super Bowl in 2 years, man. You never know that. They could be in the playoffs next year. You just never know how the quarterback play is going to end up. Who would have thought that the Commanders would win a playoff game this year? You just never know if you get that quarterback right and you get the right combination. Now, if he gets too conservative there, like he did here, then Vrabel's just another bust as a coach. But I don't think he will, but we'll see. We'll see. It's a much better improvement than Jerod Mayo. Okay, Mike McCarthy. I was a little surprised by this because if you all remember, a week ago, the Cowboys denied permission for the Bears to speak with Mike McCarthy because he was technically still under contract until today at a certain time. Now, McCarthy is they couldn't come up with an agreement yesterday. They couldn't come up with an agreement. Apparently, McCarthy wanted more years on the contract, and Jerry Jones didn't. So now Jerry Jones is out of a coach. Now, what? I'm sorry, my throat is killing me. I've been motor mouthing. So now there's rumors that, Jerry Jones has supposedly spoke to Deion Sanders. Mike McCarthy now has spoke with the Bears. Now, the Bears need a coach that Caleb Williams and these young players, high draft kicks, your Rome Odunze, that they respect. Mike McCarthy, and they also need an offensive-minded head coach to help put together all this talent that they got up there. Well, you've got an older Super Bowl winning coach. Look how hard that team played for McCarthy, even though they had Dak Prescott was out. CeeDee Lamb missed a lot of time there. Aging 30-something-year-old Zach Martin down there. Got overpaid players all over the place. Jerry's boys. He's going to pay his guys. And they still played hard and still won games with Cooper Rush. McCarthy said, I need some more time because we're going to have to depend on draft picks because you've paying 30-something million for CeeDee Lamb and you're paying 60 for that's $95 million in receiver quarterback, and one of them goes down, you're going to fall off the cliff, and that's pretty much what they did. But they still played hard for him. They still won some games for McCarthy. So going back to the Bears, that would be an ideal pick for the Bears at this time. Older seasoned coach, offensive-minded background to help set up Odunze, Caleb Williams, those prospects. He's familiar with that division. 8 straight division titles there with the Green Bay Packers, getting him back in the NFC North. That would be the ideal pick, not name Jim Harbaugh or Andy Reid, somebody. Mike McCarthy for the Bears would probably be the biggest get of this hiring cycle, in my opinion. And he's a guy that, and I have to credit Colin Cowherd again for this. He says he dealt with the over-meddling owner. He's dealt with no ownership. So he's got a lot of experience dealing with nonsense. So if he wants to deal with, he could probably deal with the Kevin Warren with his ego trip, or not have. He's never mentioned picking players. He's not, because they have a system up there in Green Bay. They're supposed to be patient there. This is a ready-made situation. It's a ready-made situation there for him. I think that he's definitely can hang in there with Dan Campbell, with Kevin O'Connell there, and LaFleur. So it's going to be interesting. I think they should hire him. Nothing's came about official. They've talked. They've got meetings set up. Let's see how that goes. As far as Deion Sanders going to the Cowboys, I don't know why Deion would want to do that personally. For all the reasons I just said. Could they get Schroeder Sanders? Well, then they gotta dump Dak Prescott. Who's going to take Dak Prescott's? Who's going to take his contract on? Do you have to give a pick and Dak Prescott to get that? Are you going to trade up with the Tennessee at 1 to get Schroeder Sanders? None of that makes sense. Even what's that guy's name? Oh God, I think of his name here. He works with ESPN. Something Reddick. It was not JJ Reddick, but anyways, he's an analyst. I think he's a former scout. Said on ESPN, this just doesn't seem like this would gel well with Deion, even though they have. So Jerry's a great salesman. I think they would have to work out some way to get Schroeder Sanders. So I don't think he's going to go to Dallas, but crazier things have happened. I'm monitoring that particular story. If you like the show, folks, share the show. I'll be back on tomorrow, I'm sure, with some more breaking news. And I'm going to talk to these situations. I hadn't even got to that college game. Mentioned Marcus Freeman angle there. Talk about that tomorrow to the Bears and everything, because that's also been rumored. But they got a national championship game they got to play between Notre Dame and Ohio State coming up Monday. So hopefully I'll have that squared away. Hopefully I'll have Carlos squared away for Thursday. Got to do some more work, and I'll just show a replay on Friday. Because of the holidays and bills and snow days have kind of messed me up on the cash, but everything's going to be okay. If you like the show, folks, please share the show. I'll be back on tomorrow. And again, 30 minutes past the hour, the great Keith Engel will be on from TGI Sports. So have a good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, here on the Real Sports Scope.